The High Council chamber glistened with alien opulence, crystalline arches, hovering glyphs, the scent of ozone and sanctimony thick in the air. 1,000 species watched from the galleries, their forms a kaleidoscope of color and biology, as Earth's lone representative walked the central aisle. Eris Vanda moved like a loaded weapon in a diplomat's skin. High Speaker Tfas of the Serene Zanari stood on the elevated dais, his robes fluttering with artificial gravity breezes. Ambassador Vanta, he announced, voice oily and magnified through biochannels. You are here to answer for humanity's continued violations of Concord tenets. Eris stopped, hands clasped behind her back. Clarify which tenets, Speaker. The list shifts every cycle. A ripple of discomfort moved through the chamber. Tfas's nostrils flared. Unauthorized development of quantum AI. Militarization of frontier systems. Breach of Treaty 9 with the Thelm. Aggressive trade dominion over the Pakhtari sectors. Shall I continue? No need, Eris said. You rehearsed that list well enough already. Behind her, the human delegation remained still, no advisors, no aides. Just her. As always. Tfas gestured, and holographic images unfurled, fleets in motion, AI code structures glowing in red, human terraformers expanding aggressively into the unclaimed belt. Evidence, layered and damning. Humanity, the speaker declared, remains a rogue element, brilliant, yes, but dangerous. The Council has voted. By quorum, Earth is to be expelled from the Galactic Concord. Effective immediately. No gasps. No drama. Everyone expected this. The council chamber brimmed with smug relief, as if centuries of uneasy coexistence had finally been solved with a single bureaucratic guillotine. Eris exhaled softly. Not in surprise, just the measured patience of someone enduring a long joke with a bad punchline. She stepped forward once more. Do you recall the Calvis plague? She asked. The one that liquefied lungs across 6 systems? Tfas's jaw tensed. Irrelevant. It was human scientists who cracked the genome in 36 hours. Whispers rose from the outer chambers. And the Zorlith fracture? The one that nearly collapsed the spinal trade route? A coordinated Concord effort. Led and completed by a human salvage team, with no payment. We just didn't want the region turning into a black hole. Again. You seek to distract, Tfas said, stepping forward now. You do not deny the charges? I don't play games with fiction. Eris turned slightly, addressing the whole chamber now. Let's be clear, you never feared our violations. You feared our evolution. You feared that we'd outgrow this council, and we have. Not because we're violent. Because we're efficient. Because we don't wait for permission to solve problems you debate for decades. Murmurs thickened into conversation. Even species with no mouths found ways to whisper. Tfas's expression had soured into something cold. Then you admit defiance. I admit that we no longer need your approval to exist. A heavy silence dropped like a thunderclap. Eris took one more step and looked Tfas directly in the eyes. You want us gone? Fine. We'll walk. You will submit all gate codes and relay control nodes to the Concord. No. Those assets were developed within Concord space. Using Earth's funding, labor, and tech. Built by humans. Protected by humans. You can have them when you dig them from the ashes. Several delegates twitched nervously. Tfas recovered quickly. Then you invite war. No, Eris said. You do. By assuming we need this alliance more than you do. She tapped her wrist pad. A soft chime echoed through the chamber. That was the signal. All human stations, embassies, outposts, and jump gates are now offline. Access revoked. AI networks quarantined. Trade routes rerouted. Your infrastructure just lost 43% of its operational integrity. You wouldn't dare. Already done. She turned and began to walk, heels echoing with deliberate finality. She passed through the center aisle, through stunned ambassadors and frozen dignitaries, all watching their prey walk calmly into the dark. At the threshold, she paused. You wanted to humble us. Instead, you freed us. That was a mistake. Then she was gone. No applause. No protest. Just the slow realization that a 1,000-year-old balance had just cracked, and the humans hadn't flinched. Behind them, the stars shifted slightly. Systems powered down. Relay gates blinked out one by one. The council sat in stunned silence, as Virex Prime began to dim, just slightly, as if humanity had taken something vital with them. And in a way, they had. The silence came fast. Too fast. Within 12 hours of Earth's withdrawal, over 400 Concord systems reported critical failures. Diplomatic beacons linked to human comrades blinked offline. Jump gates constructed or maintained by Terran engineers froze mid-cycle. Some simply powered down. Others locked out access entirely. Emergency fallback protocols activated, and failed. Virex Prime's information grid, once seamless, now lagged under the weight of redirected traffic. Data requests to human servers returned one message, universally translated. Connection terminated by origin authority. No further correspondence accepted. In the inner sanctum of the High Council, the unease had evolved. Not panic. Not yet. But close. Speaker Tfas stood before a translucent war table, its surface cracked with red-lit system failures. Council members flanked him, their voices clipped and rising. The Merti transport lanes are in chaos, growled War Admiral Score, his chitinous armor twitching with irritation. Every relay past Station Delta 4 went dark. Our supply fleet is stuck in system. The medical AI on Varn 3 won't respond to override commands, hissed Chancellor Keel of the Telari. It was co-developed with Earth protocols. Now it's quarantined itself and locked us out. And trade? Asked a representative from the Commerce Guilds. Her voice was sharper than usual. The freight index dropped 20%. In a day. Tfas held up a hand. This is temporary. They're bluffing. Earth wouldn't dare isolate themselves entirely. A voice spoke from behind him. They didn't isolate themselves. You isolated them. Eris Vanta's voice. Tfas turned, already bristling, but it wasn't her. It was a projection. A passive recording embedded in the chamber's backup node, one the council hadn't noticed until now. The hologram shimmered to life. Eris stood once again in the council chamber, but this time in full military black, not diplomatic gray. If you're seeing this, the projection said, you're experiencing the early effects of your decision. Let's clear something up, humanity isn't retreating. We're removing ourselves. You revoked our membership. We've revoked our cooperation. Symmetry. The hologram stepped forward, an unnerving mimicry of her presence. We didn't advertise it, but for over 2 centuries, Earth has quietly maintained, powered, or upgraded 43% of your critical systems. Communications. Navigation. Terraforming AI. Cyber defense networks. Not out of duty. Out of efficiency. We needed things to work. You needed someone to do the work. So we did it. Her image paused. Then, with quiet steel, you took our competence for compliance. That's over. The recording ended. No one spoke. Finally, Tfas growled, reactivate the diplomatic channel. We'll issue a formal appeal. Frame it as misunderstanding. We've tried, said the chamber's AI. All diplomatic bands are blocked. Human embassies have been cleared. Representatives gone. Data purged. Another delegate asked, voice taut, what about the Earth Gate? The room froze. The Earth Gate, humanity's greatest contribution to the Concord. A massive jump relay orbiting the Terran system, capable of instantaneous travel across 8 sectors. A marvel. A lifeline. Now, inaccessible. War Admiral Score's mandibles clicked. They're not bluffing. They're gone. And they've taken their toys with them. Tfas paced tightly. Begin negotiations through proxies. The Shard Collective had trade with Earth. Reach out. Offer incentives. They've already responded, said a Telari aide, grim. They declined. Politely. What did they say? The humans have always honored their word. We will not dishonor ours. The Shard weren't known for sentiment. That left one last resort, force. Tfas activated a secure channel, routing through the Council's defense oversight. Mobilize Recon Fleet Zeta. Approach the Earth system perimeter, passive scans only. If they've truly gone dark, we must verify. A moment later, a second chime rang across the chamber. A new message. Not from Earth. From a sublayer buried deep in the Concord's AI net. Written in Earth code. To those who remain, we are not your threat. We were your warning. That time is over. The wolves are awake now. No signature. No point of origin. Just the message, sent across all major council networks at once. Some thought it a joke. Others didn't. 2 days later, the recon fleet reached the Sol perimeter. They never sent a reply. Not because they were destroyed. Because they stopped responding. All 22 ships. Not a single shot fired. Not a distress ping. Just silence. The last telemetry feed showed dark silhouettes in orbit. Massive. Cold. Without heat signatures. Ships of unknown class, unregistered design. No weapons deployed. No hails returned. Just presence. Unmoving. Watching. A quiet blockade. Back on Virex Prime, the chamber was unraveling. Tfas had lost control. His political enemies, once docile, began sharpening their teeth. Accusations whispered. Allegiances shifted. The Council had overreached. And the galaxy had noticed. In the days that followed, several minor species filed for neutrality status, detaching from Concord enforcement. 2 independent nations, once annexed under Council pressure, offered treaties to Earth. No reply. Eris's silence echoed louder than her voice ever had. Speaker Tfas stood once more before the Council, older now, not in years but in weight. The veneer of command had worn thin. We must fix this, he said finally. How? Asked Keel, arms folded. Tfas stared at the vacant place where Earth's seal once glowed. I don't know, he admitted. A rare thing for any leader to say. But far too late. 3 weeks. That's all it took. The Concord, once a monolith of power and order, cracked like old glass under pressure it didn't know existed. Systems faltered. Trade collapsed. Pirate factions filled the vacuum, emboldened by the sudden disappearance of human patrols. Planets that once basked in quiet prosperity faced rolling blackouts, infrastructure failure, and digital decay. The galaxy had taken humanity for granted. Now, it felt their absence like an open wound. Speaker Tfas stood in his private quarters, hunched over a stream of emergency briefings. One from the Bortha Ring, lost atmosphere after its stabilizers failed. Human tech. No one could restart it. Another from the Galen Archipelago, invaded within hours of human withdrawal. No response from the Council fleet. They were spread too thin. A knock. He looked up. It was Counselor RHYX of Yvonne. Her eyes, silver slits beneath a veil of gossamer neural fabric, narrowed at him. You need to step down. Tfas didn't answer. She continued. You gambled with the one species that never bluffed. You lost. Now the rest of us are paying for it. He gestured at the reports. You think a new speaker will change this? No. But we might have a chance at survival if we stop pretending we're still in control. Tfas said nothing. He didn't argue. That was new. She dropped a thin data blade on the table. They sent a message. From Earth. His eyes flicked to it. Only 3 words, she said. He activated the blade. A black screen shimmered, and white text appeared. We remember everything. No signature. No context. But everyone understood. The human ships arrived not long after. They didn't jump in. They didn't announce themselves. They simply appeared, slipping past detection nets, ignoring gate networks entirely. Vessels of unfamiliar design, matte black, without visible propulsion or heat trails. Silent. Stationary. Watching. First 1. Then 7. Then dozens. Spread across known space, parked above key strategic points. Energy grids. Former embassies. Border systems. Always silent. Always passive. The council tried to hail them. No response. TFAS convened a closed emergency session. Most members didn't show. Those who did looked frayed. We have to re-establish communication, he said. Offer terms. Reparations, if needed. Keel scoffed. Terms? You really think they want trade? Admiral Score's voice cut through. They haven't attacked. That tells us something. Or everything, muttered RHYX. Then the Shard Collective's representative, who hadn't spoken in any session since the vote, leaned forward. They are giving us a choice, it said in a crystalline trill. This is a mirror. Not a sword. What choice? TFAS demanded. To kneel. Or to adapt. Later that cycle, a broadcast arrived. Not to the council. Not on official channels. It streamed directly to civilian networks, translated in every known language. It was Eris Vanta. She stood in a Terran command hall, sleek, understated, efficient. No backdrop of flags. No grandstanding. I wasn't sent to negotiate, she began. I wasn't sent at all. She looked directly at the camera. We tried. For centuries, we played by your rules. We fixed your wars. We saved your species. We asked for nothing. You mistook that for subservience. She paced slowly, her expression unreadable. You taught us how the Concord works. How power hides behind process. How alliances are conditional. How trust, once broken, becomes leverage. A pause. Then. Fine. You broke it. You're right to be afraid. But not of us. She gestured, and the camera zoomed out. Behind her, a screen showed dozens of systems flickering, highlighting every network, every relay, every piece of tech Earth had helped build. Then a counter appeared. Ticking upward. Every species we aided as tech built on our architecture. Your fleets. Your infrastructure. Your food systems. You don't need us to destroy you. You only need to keep ignoring how much you depended on us to survive. Her voice sharpened. We will not return to the Concord. We will not forget who tried to strip us of autonomy. But we will remember who stood with us. Those who came forward before the silence. Those who didn't join the vote. Several council members stiffened, realizing the implications. If you want dialogue, we're listening. If you want war, keep waiting. We have no interest in conquest. But we don't run anymore. The feed cut. Within hours, the fractures widened. The Tellari signed a non-aggression pact with Earth. The Shard Collective opened formal diplomatic channels. Smaller powers followed, either seeking alliance or neutrality. Trade requests flowed to Terran ports through back channels. But the humans didn't respond to all of them. Only some. The others were simply ignored. Like ghosts choosing which voices to haunt. TFAS resigned 2 cycles later. Not with a speech. Not with defiance. Just a sealed letter in an empty chair. By then, it was clear, the Concord wasn't dying. It had already died. It just hadn't realized it yet. At a remote outpost near the galactic fringe, a pair of junior council technicians watched the night sky. One pointed at a new object, dark, angular, parked above a nearby moon. "That's one of theirs," she whispered. The other nodded. "Do you think they're watching us?" "I think they always were," she said. He paused. "You scared?" She thought for a moment. "No. I think we finally know who we're dealing with."